Hi, my name is John Olsheimer, and I am a credit expert who contributes to creditcardinsider.com. Today's question is this: does your place of residence or address affect your credit score? Very good question. Credit scoring systems consider information on your credit reports. One of the things to keep in mind when you're talking about credit scores is that they only consider information from your credit reports. They do not consider any information from other sources. So in other words, things like income, employment, the amount of money you have in your savings account, the amount of money you have in your wallet, none of those things are on your credit report. Therefore, they cannot be considered by credit scoring systems. The actual formal name of a credit score is called a credit bureau-based scoring system. So it's always based on just data straight from the credit report. Now, if you look at your credit report, which you should do multiple times a year, you'll notice a section called the identification section. And within that section, your name, any former variations of your name, your current and prior addresses, your date of birth, your social security number. All that information is in fact on your credit report. However, credit scoring systems do not consider it. Okay, so your name, variations of your name, your current address, former addresses, date of birth, social are not considered by credit scoring models. Now the question is well, why not? If you read or if you're familiar with the federal statute called the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, or the ECOA, or ECOA as some people call it, there was a list of prohibited factors, prohibited meaning that they cannot be considered by lenders when they are considering whether or not to do business with you. Things like where you live, your gender, your age, those are generally considered to be off limits. Age is actually quite an interesting one. Credit scoring models actually could consider your age, but they would have to assign maximum points or fully beneficial points to protected classes. And when you're talking about age, the ECOA defines people as being 62 or older as the quote-unquote elderly, and therefore that is a protected class. So a credit scoring system would have to assign that person maximum points if they were 62 years or older. And that's not necessarily something that a scoring system wants to do, because that actually could be counterintuitive or counter to what their research says that they should be doing. It's the same thing with addresses. If you're familiar with the term redlining, if you're not, what redlining is essentially a bank that is consciously choosing to not do business in certain geographies because they may feel that the people who live in that geography may not be good customers, and that can get a bank in a whole lot of trouble. Banks, if they're going to exclude geographies, have to exclude a large enough geography so that it's not perceived as being discriminatory against the people who live in, for example, a zip +4, which is actually a fairly small geographical area. So addresses are not considered not only by lenders, but addresses are not considered by credit scoring systems because ostensibly using an address in a credit score, which is then used by a lender to make a decision, would be redlining or could be considered redlining, which would be illegal under the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. So because of that, addresses, while they are on credit reports, are absolutely off limits to credit scoring systems. And if you walk into a bank, the next time you walk into a bank or some sort of financial institution, look around and I guarantee you there's going to be a plaque somewhere that's in plain sight that says, "We do not discriminate based on the following factors," and there's an entire list of things that the bank is not allowed to consider when they are underwriting or considering you for some sort of extension of credit. If you have any other questions pertaining to credit or other financial topics, then please submit them to creditcardinsider.com or in the comments section below. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day.